In this live stream, we're going to walk you through my latest investigation on Predixa, the TMX ecosystem, and the PLP opportunity. Over the last few days, I've spent many hours following the evidence. I've reviewed Brian Rhodes' presentations, walked through the Predixa terms of service and the privacy policy. The TMX Ambassador brand kit, the project's own documentation, and months of discussion inside their official Discord community. I've also compared what was being promoted publicly with what the project's own documents actually says, which marketing is one thing and documentation is another, but they contradict normally quite a lot, and we'll show you that today. This investigation isn't based on rumours or anonymous sources. It's built on using Predixa's own material, public statements, and the information the project has chosen to publish. So we couldn't predict the outcome of this investigation, or could we? Get it? Before I published the investigation, I also offered Brian Rhodes a right of reply. He didn't respond. Well, he did, but not sufficiently to the questions I asked. We'll look at exactly what he said and whether it answers the questions raised or what important questions still remain. As always, I'm not here to tell anyone what to do with their money. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm not going to give you a disclaimer because we would prefer to go to court with these scammers and defend our research with the receipts that we have. And what I often say to people, we actually use their own swords, and that's what they fall on. So it's their terms and conditions, their marketing, their privacy, their anti-money laundering terms and conditions, all that sort of stuff we use to give you the answers to, not the answers, but what we've come up with our research, and then you can make your own informed decision. My role isn't to ask difficult questions. My role is to ask difficult questions, examine available evidence, and encourage people to carry out their own due diligence before making any financial decisions. Now, I've recorded this meeting in my live section of my website. I've actually been streaming now for over 3 hours already, but this is the part where I actually deliver the goods. Now, you can go to my live section and you'll learn a lot of tips about how to do your own investigations into these opportunities that are presented to you by your friends and family. And I often say if I've made any factual mistakes, I'm always happy to correct them. And ironically, I very rarely get corrected. I don't know why. Good investigative journalism isn't about defending an opportunity. It's about following the evidence wherever it leads. Now, we research the people who are promoting it, and we look at their track record. So it's very easy for us to draw conclusions and basically say, well, this guy's liar, pants on fire. Why is he changing his tune? But we don't. We actually go through the evidence every time, every opportunity, and just check out to see whether the leopard has changed his spots. So let's go through this investigation together and see what the evidence actually tells us. Because there is a big difference between promotion and investigation. One asks you to believe, and the other asks you for evidence. So if you haven't been to my website before, it's deheck.com. And currently we're experiencing a denial server attack, which means if you go to the website that I'm about to put in the chat room, in the live chat room, and you should have the replay available, you will find what's going on. What have we got? People don't believe the real. I'm just reading the chat room. And that's really cool. Now, I haven't actually put the join option in the chat room. So anyone that wants to join me on stage, you can do so at any time. I've pinned that message to there. So that's how you join us on the stage. We've got a bit of a history with Brian Rhodes. You won't be able to read it, but you'll just have to trust me. But these are some of the scams that he's promoted in the past.
Fast BNB, promoted alongside YoCoin executive Beeman Dus, collapsed in 2022. Ecematic, another failed crypto scheme. Kuno Mine, disappeared like the rest. Coin Market Bull, Vortic United, Invisible AI, each one collapsed, leaving investors out of pocket.
So that's what Brian Rhodes has a history of promoting, and you won't be able to see it, but he's also he's part of TMX Global, multi-style commissions, 30% direct, 10% level 2, and 5% level 3, meaning that he's given away 45% of the loot even before they do the alleged offer. So if you go through, you can read all about my previous, like these are just another handful that he's been promoting.
Fast BNB, 2022. Easymatic, 2022. Gunnar Mine, 2022. Capitalium, 2023. Trade Tribe, 2024.
And if you look at his social media, which we have just been doing in the live, but I'll repeat myself a little bit here, we're going through everything. And what really concerns me is if you, first of all, look at the website addresses, these are all the website addresses he's using at the moment to promote his current opportunity. We don't need to go on and on. We've also got, I think I shut them all down after that. We did actually go to Behind MLM, and this was, Brian is in here promoting this with Tim Wader, which is some Russian guy. But Behind MLM is a fantastic website where if you go in here and you search for anyone that has referred you into a Ponzi scheme or a scam, you can find 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are we up to here? I'm just seeing how many of these we've got. We've got 4. So we've got 4 articles that have been featuring Brian in the past. There's Brian in the middle of his brand, and these are the individuals that have been promoted. And if you went through all his associates, you'll find that they just sit here all day long and promote Ponzi schemes and scams, and not one of them has actually delivered on what they said they would, other than buying a credit card for $1,000 and the person that referred you into it got $300, and then be able to use that credit card and thinking that you're getting some amazing value out of it is a load of rubbish. Now, if anyone knows anything about these credit cards, you pay $30,000 and you can white label a credit card with your company on it if you want. So they go out there and they sell 30 of these credit cards for $1,000 and it hasn't cost them anything. And then this credit card is usually used to give them some clout of legitimacy. However, it's just a load of poos and wheeze and rubbish. But if you go to Brian Rhodes' YouTube account, you'll see he's got 74 videos. Now, the honest truth of it, he's got more than 74 videos, but all depends what he's promoting at the time. You will find that his YouTube videos will all disappear as soon as the scam falls over, unless he gets incredibly unlucky and forgets to remove. But his YouTube channel says his last video was 2 years old. You go to this one here and it tells you that this YouTube channel was actually 2.5 years of age. So he may have lost his YouTube channel and got it back. He's got 587 subscribers. So he's working hard. And unfortunately, if you come here, you can see that he's got a, let's just say, a smoking hot wife that's managed to bear 5 children for him, which is lovely. And he's got 83 people following him on social media. And he's got 281 followers on social media, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And he's following 83 people. And you can basically see that everything that he's promoting is being posted here. And if you want to get involved in crypto and you want to follow his guidance, then I can't help you. But that's his Twitter. And then what you see is you see something that I often see, which always blows me away. You see a beautiful family, even the mother-in-law is in there, and you see the kids and all this wonderful stuff of him being a family man. And then next minute, you see this advert in here talking about a crypto investment opportunity. And if you have a look at the print over here, you can actually see that there's a referral code in here. And that's another domain I haven't seen one with that side in there. So this would be the affiliate side of it, and it just goes on and on and on. So what I'm sort of getting at here is saying to, if I clicked on that link, now it takes me into another website that I've never seen. It's telling you to connect your wallet to it. Do not do that. If you think this is dubious, I don't know, it had a contract address in there. That's interesting. I'm just going to chuck that in the window for Susie. Oops, look, it disappeared. Oh, now we've gone into there. Oh, that's interesting. I'll give you that to you, Susie. You might eat that up for breakfast. In fact, I won't send it to you publicly. I will just send it to you there. And if you're watching, you'll know what I've done that for. Alrighty, so what I'm getting at here is there's another address that I don't know anything about, and we just spent 3 hours going through some of this before I did this publication. And if I type in that there, now I have a different looking, I actually will put that in there, a different looking website than I was used to looking at. So I'm just going to go down here and add it to his list. There it is. Oh, it's a completely different domain name. Oh, no, it's not. All right. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So what I'm saying is we've got this guy that's got a beautiful family, 5 children. He's the man. He's even got more abs than you can poke a stick at, which is really nice. And here he is telling everyone how to invest in one scheme after the next. And then, as I said, all of a sudden you'll see him promoting something to do with crypto in between all these beautiful photos. So I don't know. But anyway, interesting. And the same with his Facebook page. We just went through this a few minutes ago, so sorry if you've been here for the live. But you'll see family photos, scam, 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 scam. And these are other scams that he's not promoting on his YouTube channel. These are just scams that are posted in his feed. So he's got his, I presume that's his daughter. And then we've got scam, scam. And today we're going to look at that scam that he's promoting. You can even go to his LinkedIn account, and he's a fintech owner, which means he believes that TMX is his baby. He's got contact information, which I won't click on. We just rang him before. He won't talk to us. He keeps hanging up on us, and he keeps sending us messages basically saying, "You are wasting your time. I'm laying with a sick baby. Have fun, Dan. Good night." So he's even looking after kids. So that was the last message we got from him. And also, I think we have actually got, we gave him a response opportunity. If I go to here, I'm going to look at Predixa. And we did a bit of research here just this morning. Oh, I think it's actually back here. So this morning we received a response from him. And the response is, where did we get your response, Brian? So first thing we did is we wrote him a whole lot of questions, and then we got this response. So this is his right of reply.
Right, Predixa at Predixa. This is how PLP works. These funds are used for combo trades and counter trades against users.
Right, which is quite exciting. So he basically told us to sign up, which we're not prepared to do. And you weren't here earlier on, perhaps, but we come to this opportunity here. Crypto combo presence. Will Bitcoin go up or down? And you can bet basically on what you think. And the winners get the proceeds and the losers lose their money. But if you clicked on here, it takes you off to a price generator. And we just spent half an hour examining how he gets this graph to update in the milliseconds. And we found out that the BTC amount was about $70 out. The Ethereum price was about $7 or $8 out. And Solana was 7 cents out. But these were not accurate with what was actually happening. And we've never actually seen crypto go up and down with a graph like that. So we were trying to figure out how this graph was formulated. But when we got down to about 2 minutes or a minute, it closed off and then it reset itself. So every 5 minutes, it seems like it grabs the current price of BTC and ETH and Solana, creates a graph, and then it takes another timestamp in 5 minutes and comes up and lets you know whether the prices went up or down, and whether you're right or wrong, you can theoretically bet. So this is what he believes. And if you look at this, he's telling us that Predixa isn't, he actually said, Dan, I don't own Predixa. I am an original investor into it, but I don't own it. So he's an investor, but he's telling you that the company TMX is actually him, and he is the owner of TMX with Adam, I believe. I'm not 100% sure because he won't reply to us, but I'm going with what I know. Now, if you read this and you read Predixa, by TMX and you knew that TMX was owned by him, then you would assume that the ownership would mean he owns it and he's not, just an investor. So this is the front page of it. And what we did yesterday is we went through and we tried to find the terms and conditions, MLM, everything you could think of that most sites would have, terms and conditions, privacy statements, and there's nothing, right? So I'm going to shut that down now. And then we come back to other things that he has to offer. So as far as I'm concerned, in previous videos, Brian has admitted that he is the co-founder of this, or the founder of this opportunity I'm looking at right here. And when you go to the bottom here, you don't find any terms and conditions and the like. You find the normal lame answers to a few questions. 4 questions are answered, and it's a pretty poor way. But all they want you to do is connect your wallet to it, so don't do that. Then we come along to this one, which is another website, another domain name. We've got videos which look like telling you all about it. It's just bullshit.
Welcome to TMX Global, a unified platform for modern banking.
Yep. So they're claiming that they're providing banking services, which is, looks like you can buy yourself a $250, $500, or $1,000 US. Now we know that this will come probably with a credit card, and he told us that somebody who encouraged you to sign up for this will get 30% of it. I'm not really 100% sure, but you need to have an affiliate code to actually sign up. They will argue that they're not multi-level marketing, and they will argue the fact that they are an affiliate system and not multi-level marketing, but they've got more than 3 levels. As you can see, they're giving away what looks like 45% of whatever they sell. And this is meant to convince me that this is not multi-level marketing. Okay, affiliate video.
TMX Global is here, and we're paying out like no one else in the game. Our 3-tier referral system pays 30% on your direct signups, 10% on their referral, TMX Gold or TMX Black, with plastic or metal cards, premium banking services, and global spending power. Earnings are never guaranteed.
Right, so you get the idea. I'm not going to play it because that music will probably cut some of this video off. Multi-currency, direct. It's everything that you ever want, basically. You just need to give them your money and hope that every time you go and use your card, that they don't lose their banking system. Journey at a glance. Often this is like, now this is what they call a white paper a lot of the times, these companies. This is not a white paper. This is just a friggin' screen with pictures on it. But they give you this to give you the illusion that they've got a white paper and they're summarizing it. But if you come down here and you wanted to read, now this is the exciting part. Now this is just grouping all these opportunities that are associated with Brian as into one. So if you didn't know any better, you would look at this and think the policies that this company has are
AML policy, terms and conditions, privacy policy, cookie policy, risk disclosure, KYC policy, data protection, regulatory info, sanctions policy, complaint.
Right. Now, we were trying to find, so they're saying they're compliant. So if you didn't read this, anyone that says that this is their, this is using this one as an example, this is their AML policy, right? Now, I've never seen an AMA policy with only 8 lines of code in it. And don't worry, it gets more exciting. So just going through this, acceptance of terms and conditions. So this is terms and conditions. So you read through this, and that's got 12, if you count number 12, 12 terms and conditions. This one here is privacy policy, right? So that's pretty standard. Even I've got one of those on my website, but you've got 10 bullet points, yippee-yi-yay. Cookie policy, well, everyone knows you don't have to say yes to cookies, by the way. You can say no and still access the website. You just got to be aware of it. When you've got a website in the UK, you've got a legal requirement that you must have a box where people accept to turn on or turn off your cookies. Anyway, that's why you get them on some websites, not all websites. Right, so now we've got risk disclosure. Now, you'd think this would be massive, but let's go to, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things. That's the biggest one so far. So if you read through that with AI, you would find that your risk disclosure doesn't match up to the marketing that they're doing about this opportunity. Now we're looking at KYC policy. You know, when you transfer more than $10,000, you've meant to tick some button and cross some I. Well, they've also got that on their website. So they've got 12 of these. These look like, to me, not thought out. These are just standard templated ones that they've got. And at the end of the day, everything's telling you to email. So email them.
2. Data Controller Information. TMX Global acts as the data controller for personal data collected through our services. You can contact our data protection officer at email info@tmxglobal.io.
Right. And to be honest, guys, the amount of times that I email these customers and their emails bounce back, you would not believe. But there is some good stuff coming up here. So data protection, we've got 17 bullet points on that. And what I'm saying, these are very watery. And this is the one that really, really takes. So this is regulatory info. So this company here, this is what they've done. They've got complete business address in brackets because they haven't completed it. You come down here and it talks all the standard stuff. In here, regulatory oversight. And they've got square brackets in here because they haven't completed them. And then you come down to, I think we saw another group of this sort of carry on going on. Here we go. Industry memberships. They haven't got any. Professional bodies. So they've left that blank. So what I'm saying is link to compliant file system. They haven't finished their regulatory info. This is templated and they haven't completed the dot. So Brian, if you're watching that, you might want to get up in the morning, make sure you put in whatever you've got there because I don't think you've got anything. So this is all, to me, this is a templated website. They haven't finished compliance. You've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Legal action. Your right to take legal action. Let's have a listen.
Your right to take legal action is not affected by this complaints procedure. You may seek legal advice or pursue legal remedies at any time, though we encourage you to use our complaints process first as it may provide a faster and more cost-effective resolution.
Right, so you would think they would have a link. Okay, so now we've got the complaints process. Let's listen to this.
10. Alternative dispute resolution. If you remain dissatisfied after our internal complaints process, you may refer your complaint to an independent dispute resolution service. Financial Ombudsman Service, if applicable in your jurisdiction. Industry dispute resolution schemes. Consumer protection agencies. We will provide contact details for relevant dispute resolution services in our final response.
Right, so I had a car and I was merging into a lane. I got to the end of the lane and this guy tried to overtake me. So I moved slightly like that, as you do, being a red-blooded male. And this guy decided to back his car off and then drive his car into mine, right? And then my insurance company said, well, you contributed to the accident because you went like this, even though I was coming off a merging lane and I was literally 1.5 meters off the line when I did that. Anyway, long story short, I went to the ombudsman and it cost the insurance company $1,800 to even listen to my complaint. And at the end of the day, I won. Now, he's telling us that they have a system in here to complain through the ombudsman if there's disputes. So if that's the case, then on this website, you would want to know that these guys are financial advisors. You would want to know what agency they fall under, what country they fall under. There's so many questions around how do I handle a dispute, the complaint process, financial ombudsman service, if available in your jurisdiction. So where's this company live? This is, and then your right is to take legal action. It's just absolutely bullshit. So none of this means crap if you've got nothing to fall back on. So there we go. Just giving you a look. What's the address that you sent me about April? It's no activity for 8 months. Yes. So I noticed that when we had a look at this, this address here, it just happened to have a crypto wallet address on it. And it's meant to be, I don't know what it means, to be honest, but it's something to do with TMX. Private seed completed. Tribe, don't know what it means. Maybe you can figure out what they're on about. Oh, we've got a white paper now, have we? Oh, we can download the white paper. This would be funny. Is the white paper going to be a PDF PowerPoint presentation? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It is. How predictable is that? Oh my goodness. So their white paper is now in front of me. Table of contents. I'm interested to see if it mentions anything to do with the scan that we're about to do. So our goal, these guys don't obviously know what a white paper is. And now we've got, just trying to see whether they actually have marketing advantage, trading features. That is such a TPL liquidity pools. Consist. I'm dying to know whether they have any mention of this opportunity in here. User liquidity pools trade TPL holders. They claim that they've got $6 million worth in liquidity at the moment and have used $100,000 to set up their new opportunity. Marketing overview. What have we got? Events, total supply, 5% of the total supply, which is equivalent to 1,000 TMX. An event, staking rewards. So if you stake your money, they're going to give you 40%, but you'll probably never get your money out. Interesting. So I'd love to actually go through that now I've got that. And when I get stuff like that, I often come back to here, Ponzi schemes, and you can see TMX Global, and then we go to here, and I basically put those PDFs in here, and then we have now got access to those when we need them, because they change all the time. But because I've seen this one, so we've got a white paper, it does make me wonder if I can find the white paper for the thing that I'm just, people purchase tokens. That was the sale. I see, I don't follow that. So that's, yeah, don't know. But all I know is don't connect your wallet. But I'm actually interested now to know if there's it won't be TGE. At least I don't think it will be. What I'm getting at, guys, I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but let's go back to Ryan and let's go to Predixa, and then let's remove we'll put that there. I don't think it's going to do that, is it? No. But it's interesting that it's, it would be quite neat to know. App. Yeah, what I'm trying to get is I'd love to find the white paper. I mean, if I went like this and went white paper, and let's have a look at that. TMX generation understands. I'm getting off track here now, though, but you don't want to get distracted. But in here somewhere, I would love to see the white paper for this. We would have chucked that into. But anyway, he claims that this isn't his baby. And that's really interesting.
So, what is TMX Predict? It's a decentralized marketplace for forecasts designed so users can trade real-world events like macro trends, geopolitics, and financial markets directly as on-chain assets. The platform is fully powered by DEX liquidity, backed by our early access community, features transparent fees, and ensures automatic settlements via blockchain oracles. So, what is TMX Predict? It's a
All right, so now we've found a website which I didn't even know existed. 2 more links, which might give us a bit of hope. We've got Jake, TMX info, and that's interesting. So if I didn't know any better, I'm going to go to the videos and try to figure out. See, the connection here, we've got 17 views, 9 views, 11 views, 120 views. So this is the opportunity we're looking at the moment.
Welcome to Predixa by TMX, where it's your opinion, your trade. Finding your way around this page is effortless. At the top, a clean navigation header automatically scrolls you down to the exact section you want to explore. So, what is TMX Predict? It's a decentralized marketplace for forecasts designed so users can trade real-world events like macro trends, geopolitics, and financial markets directly as on-chain assets. The platform is fully powered by DEX liquidity, backed by our early access community, features
backed by an early access community, and they reckon blockchain stuff, which is stupid.
Transparent fees and ensures automatic settlements via blockchain oracles. The page breaks down the core concepts in 3 easy steps. Step 1. Buy shares. Choose a market and pick yes or no at the current market price. Step 2. Wait for the outcome or sell your shares early at any time to lock in a profit. And step 3. Collect winnings. If you're right, each share pays you exactly $1. If you're wrong, it pays 0. Look at the example displayed on the site. Bitcoin hits $100,000 by March. If you buy 100 shares of Yes at 60 cents, your position costs $60. If Yes wins, you get a $100 payout, leaving you with a clean $40 profit. If No wins, you get a $0 payout, resulting in a $60 loss. Your return is always tied directly to how many shares you bought. Scroll down a bit further to 2 ways to predict. First, event markets offer long-term yes or no questions on global outcomes, where the share prices reflect aggregated probability in real time. Second, live markets feature fast 5-minute windows. A reference price is locked when the market opens. If the final price ends up above the target, up wins. If it's below, down wins. But here's the real star of the platform, and what makes Predixa completely unique: combo predictions. This feature lets you predict multiple outcomes at once for higher risk and higher reward. Your $100 trade splits across 3 pairs all at once, putting $300 of effective exposure to work for you. When they all succeed, the winnings stack up, turning your $100 into $245. That's a massive 145% return with just 1 click. So why a prediction market? Predixa brings
I think it's pretty obvious that you can also lose your money with 1 click as well.
massive value by attracting a whole new audience of non-traders who value opinions over charts. It creates perfect DEX synergy using the same wallet and UI, leading to higher traffic and more fee revenue. And this fee revenue directly rewards TMX token holders through a powerful model of supply and demand. 20% of all platform fees are used to buy back TMX tokens. Combined with custom market guarantees and signups, tokens are permanently taken off the market. As the platform grows, this constant supply reduction decreases the available supply, driving value directly to holders. And as you will see, the platform's early backers get an even bigger piece of this revenue engine. To stay updated and shape the future of the platform, you can click the Discord logo, always located in the bottom right corner of our page. But you don't have to wait for the official launch to benefit. The primary feature of this page right now, and your biggest opportunity, is the early access PLP sale. Getting involved is simple. You just connect a wallet like MetaMask, Trust Wallet, or Coinbase Wallet. And you aren't restricted to just one type of cryptocurrency. Thanks to our integrated multi-chain bridge, you can invest using almost any coin or token on any major network, as long as you have the basic gas fees covered for the transaction. By joining the PLP pool today, your funds are directly used to provide prediction market liquidity. In return, you unlock incredible investment benefits. You instantly join a 50% fee pool, giving you a direct share in all future platform trading fees. Most importantly, this creates a true passive income for life, a one-time financial opportunity that will never be available again once the sale closes. Over $5.3 million has already been raised, and the pool is filling fast. Head over to Predixa.xyz, connect your wallet, and secure your financial share today.
Yeah, so that's a wee bit of lies actually, because we heard that they invested $100,000 theoretically into this project. And now they're claiming that they've got liquidity of $6 million, but I thought the liquidity actually came from the TX market. I could be wrong. And like all good, I don't know if I can do this without incriminating anyone, but I'll give it a go. I've got Signal, WhatsApp. I don't actually have Discord after all that, so I can't show you. But yes, I do have Discord. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's have a wee quick look. It won't incriminate anyone, I don't think. Yeah, so this is Discord. And what I'm going to do, so I don't know how to get rid of... I can do this. Well, that works. I'll do that then instead. We'll just stretch that out of the way. Don't need to see those names. But in here, we've got 9 new messages. And what are we're going to get the normal things where we're going to get...
For fast-paced action,
the same stuff again. But we're going to get, I'm sure we're going to get gaslighted into showing everyone Bitcoin is at 150,000 by years. Bitcoin at 150,000 by year end is a consistent timeline taking point. Markets are at 21%, whatever that means, compared to 200K, 250K targets. I don't even know what it means. But basically, though, it's like if you want to bet and you want to believe that your shares are going to be resellable, I think this is where the problem actually lies. And, you know, we're going to be listening to stuff like this if we just get that read.
Congress just passed a $1.15 trillion defense bill while the Senate splits on a separate resolution over whether the Iran strikes even have congressional authorization. One chamber funded the war, the other is still arguing whether it was legal to start.
Yeah, so you're going to have all these things that you can bet against, which is theoretically going to drive the price of their token up. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, is this something that we should rush out and invest in? Do we need to take this on board? Anyway, let me get into it. So that's just a little bit of background. We're going to get rid of Brian off my screen. We're going to stop looking at this. Going to stop looking at this. We're going to stop looking at his family photos and his crypto opportunities. And I don't think you're going to have a six-pack like that, and nor have I. But Magic Coffee is amazing. Looks like you're on fire there, bro. And we will have a wee quick listen to this.
Now we are launching a prediction market. And this is something I want to share with you guys.
Okay, so we're going to go back a little bit.
Now we are launching a prediction. Brian Rhodes here. I'm going to talk to you about Predixa from TMX. So we have our perpetual leverage trading exchange. Now we are launching a prediction market. And this is something I want.
So in his correspondence to me, he says, "Hi, Dan, I don't own Predixa. I am originally an investor into it, but don't own it." So in here, he's alleging that he owns the company that has purchased or running it. It's contradicting himself here, I believe.
I want to share with you guys because right now we have an opportunity pretty much like no other. And with this opportunity comes major advantages for you, for any of us, since this is a community-based prediction market. So we've all heard of Polymarket. Polymarket does 400 to 500 million daily, huge amount of volume, $1 billion on certain different, I don't want to call them trades, but predictions. So with a prediction market, what is a prediction market? Is, if you're not a trader.
Yeah,
great,
well, so basically we got it run down already.
So let me share this with you.
So let's just
on being, first to market here. So if you see this right now on this page, if you invest $10,000, you receive 11,000 PLP tokens, right? That's a share of the 50% pool. When we go live, that's no longer. This includes a 3% charge by Predixa on every prediction made by a user. Okay, so that goes back into the treasury, aka liquidity as well. So your shares, your 11,000 PLP, this is where it gets exciting. That's where you see that daily volume down here. Wow, that's a lot. In time, when this grows and grows and grows, and we get around, let's say 5 million in revenue daily volume, because you got to think 100,000 users, 1,000 users, $100 a bet every 10 minutes. That's 100,000 in volume right there. This is community based. This is multi-betting. They don't have that. You don't see this on the Poly market or anything else out there. I've not seen one decentralized prediction market out there, and like what we have, that's all built on smart contracts. So with that volume, your $10,000 and 11,000 PLP will earn you around $1,787
everything's in the future,
daily.
Nothing's in the now, and fear of missing out techniques. We'll just listen to the end of
this. Provided is in the comments down below. I'll have our Discord, our Telegram chat in there. Any questions, you can comment, like this video, do whatever, post this, share this out. But to be a part of this, it's simple. You need USDT on the Arbitrum One network. You need a link, and you go and you add that to it and join our community. Thanks, guys. I'll see you.
Yeah, not likely, mate. But anyway, he's all over the internet at the moment. We've gone through all the websites that we've found. We're trying to find the offices where he claims he is. I can't find them easily on Google Earth. We've just found what looks like a PDF about his other company, and sure enough, detailed distribution table. To me, obviously, this is going to turn into, here it is. Calculator table for each mechanism. I can't even read it. Oh, goodness me. This looks like stake tokens versus yield over my head. US dollars associated to buybacks versus calculation supply process. Oh, and more figures that just bamboozle, make everyone glaze over. But it's basically telling you how rich you're going to get the more you invest. I assume monthly supply and demand. They don't even know what demand they've got. I think that's launch. More graphics, events, private sales. Of course, I want you to do it privately. Stake your money. You'll never see it again. And the only persons that are going to benefit from this is the people that promote it to a friend or family member. That's all you need to know. If you've been hanging out with me long enough, this is not a good opportunity. It is a load of rubbish. Anyway, we've got a song.
Said he found a brand new game to play. Just click up, mate, or maybe down. We'll all be millionaires by Christmas now. He flashed a chart, he flashed a smile. Talk passive income all the while. Said luck's been replaced by strategy. I nearly spilled my cup of tea. Everybody's got tomorrow's news. Everybody's wearing betting shoes. Nobody can tell me why. They all think they're psychic guys. Digital brick, up or down, round and round. Everybody's wearing the prediction crown. Passive income, so they say. Tomorrow's jackpot, any day.
Get the idea. So we are trying to put a bit of music to it ourselves now. If you haven't seen that before, you can go to Soho to Heck, suno.com. I think we now have 27 songs, which are absolutely fantastic. You can view all the songs and you can see all the nice thumbnails that we've created. And you can see Brian holding his money up there. And once again, it's a pretty good opportunity to see what we've been doing. Anyway, whether someone promised massive passive income from a platform that hasn't yet proved itself, the first question isn't how much you might make. The first question is where the money is really coming from. So this one's a bit different than most because it's claiming that you can bet. And if you're betting or gambling or doing a wager, I can only assume you need to be registered to some sort of casino. I'm not sure. I spent years investigating cryptocurrency themes, MLM opportunity and investment programs that promise ordinary people extraordinary returns. The branding changes, the technology evolves. The buzzwords move from crypto mining to AI trading, from staking to decentralized finance and how to predict markets. But the underlying question never changes: who controls the money? How are returns actually generated? And do the public claims stand up to the scrutiny? Those questions led me to Predixa, which I've shown you, a prediction market operating within the wider TMX ecosystem. Now, as I said, overnight, we found out about TMX and now Predixa. They seem to be claiming that they're coming from the same website. At first glance, everything appears polished and professional. The website is modern, the documentation is extensive, the branding is consistent, the marketing is filled with the kind of technology language that gives the impression of a mature decentralized finance project. But as I began digging deeper, reviewing hours of promotional presentations, analyzing the project so you don't have to, the documentation, comparing public statements and its own terms of service, and reading months of discussions inside the Discord community, a very different picture started to emerge. This investigation wasn't based on rumors or anonymous tips. It was built on Predicta's own website, its own legal documents, its own promotional material, its own community discussions. And the public statements made those by promoting the project. Along the way, I found contradictions, unanswered questions, and marketing claims that deserve much closer scrutiny before anyone decides to transfer their cryptocurrency into TMX ecosystem. So, like we've just mentioned, you probably already know, what is Predixa? Predixa describes itself as a decentralized prediction market built on the algorithm, what's that word?
Arbitrum.
Arbitrum blockchain, where users can speculate on the outcomes of real-world events. Rather than buying or selling cryptocurrencies direct, participants can stake USDT on questions with simple yes or no outcome. It's pretty more stable than most crypto, to be honest. These markets range from cryptocurrency price movements and financial indicators through to politics, sports, and other current news. If your prediction is correct, you receive a share of the losing side pool. Now, if you're wrong, your stake is redistributed to those who picked the winning outcomes. So the 3%, which we saw earlier on, is probably going to mean something later on. On the surface, there's nothing inherently unusual about that business model. Predictions markets have existed for years, and decentralized versions have become increasingly popular as blockchain technology has matured. Predixa presents itself as a next step in that evolution, promoting features such as wallet narrative trading, no mandatory KYC, no transaction fees, one-click predictions, and smart contracts that automatically settle markets using on-chain, what's that word? Oracle data. As I worked through the website, however, it became obvious that prediction markets were only part of the story. Almost every road eventually led back to another product called PLP. The website repeatedly encourages visitors to become part of this ecosystem before the opportunity closes. While promoters spent far more time discussing passive income, fee sharing, and future rewards that they didn't explain explaining. Oh, that's not right. I'm just going to read that next couple of paragraphs, get myself out of the shit.
Explaining how prediction markets actually worked. That immediately raised another question in my mind. Was Predixa really being marketed as a platform for making predictions, or was it being marketed as an investment opportunity wrapped around a prediction platform?
Yes, so that's the questions. Following the money that leads to PLP. The more time I spent examining Predixa, the more I realized the prediction markets weren't the primary focus of the promotional material. Again and again, presenters steered the conversations towards PLP, a fundraising mechanism, getting better, that was promoted by giving contributors access to a share of the platform's future success. So you're buying grains, let's just say you're buying sand at the beach, hoping that one day it's going to become scarce. That's all I'm going to say. Rather than encouraging people to people to simply use Predixa as a trading platform, the emphasis shifted towards becoming an early participant before the opportunity closed. So it could be, in my terms, in my understanding, just a quick way to sell some tokens, claim to extract your USDT into buying tokens that were allegedly going to be worth something, which could be, if we examined these shares, let's say this was a meme token, I would be interested to know who controls those shares and whether those shares could be pumped and then dumped at any time. And that's what we've seen time and time again. And I'm guessing here, but you can probably read between the lines. According to the representations I reviewed, contributors purchase PLP using USDT on the Arbitrum
Arbitrum.
Arbitrum network. In return, they were told that they will participate in a share of the fees generated by Predixa. Promotional material repeatedly describes PLP as a way of benefiting from the activity of other users rather than relying solely on their own predictions. In simple terms, the message being delivered was that other people would use the platform, generate fees, and PLP holders would receive a portion of the revenue. Unsurprisingly, the narrative proved far more attractive than simply inviting people to place bets on the market outcomes. That distinction matters because it fundamentally changes the conversation. Someone using Predixa to speculate on whether Bitcoin will rise over the next hour by taking part of a prediction market, someone contributing thousands of dollars to PLP because they expect ongoing passive income is making a very different decision. So whether you're having a quick gamble at the TAB or whether you, I don't know if you have TAB or Lotto, or whether you are actually buying part of the company is two different discussions. Throughout my investigation, I found that promoters devoted considerably more time discussing future fee contributions, passive income, buybacks, token appreciation, and ecosystem growth than they did explaining practical risks of prediction markets themselves. So it's crazy. So I think you read between the lines and explain lots of this. So it's just gambling with a fancy dress, as Neville in the chat room has just said, and I'll put your message up there. Thank you very much. It's so true. And I'm going to see if I can make your message a little bit bigger. Let's see if we can do that. It's been a bit naughty at the moment. I played around with them earlier on and somebody put a message in there, but we think we can actually... Yeah, so it does make it harder for us to look at these with an open mind. It's like I always say to people, it doesn't matter what product or service they're claiming to sell. It could be a toothpick, it could be an airline, it could be a skyscraper. It's all about commissions, and it is all about, it doesn't matter about the product they claim, it's all about what's going on behind the scenes. So at that point, I stopped thinking of PLP as just another token inside the ecosystem. Instead, I start asking a much simpler question. What are people actually purchasing? The answer wasn't nearly as straightforward as I expected. So how TMX explains the opportunity. So meet Brian. Now, Brian is a father of 5, got a smoking hot wife, living in America, or maybe Canada. I'm not entirely sure on that, to be honest. And at the end of the day, he's been all over behind MOM. He's promoted every Tom, Dick and Harry multi-level marketing opportunity. Every single one of them has fallen over. If it hasn't, it's about to, or is worthless. So nothing that Brian has actually said, he's delivered on. And now he's claiming that he's part of TMX and he's got $6,000 in liquidity, and he's used $100,000 to start up Predixa. And now we've heard him sending me messages while I'm live today telling me, hey, Dan, I don't own Predixa. I am the original investor into it. But I don't own it. So now he's basically telling us that he's one of the big shareholders. So he's one of the big shareholders. Now he's encouraging you to buy shares in the same company. But when you watch his videos, he's basically saying his company, which he does claim he owns, TMX, is actually, so if you go here, this is TMX ecosystem. This is called tmx.info. And if you come down to the exchange, you can actually see this is the app, and these are the bets that they claim is going to happen. And here they are. You can bet every 10 minutes whether crypto goes up or down. And if you win, you get the winnings from all the people that lost. But the bit I'm getting here is he's claiming that TMX is him. And in the past, we've actually done this before, and it would only be fair, Milanote. So if we go and look at Brian, you'll see that we actually have interviewed him in the past.
Like, oh, cool. So and I'm glad that you came onto one of these calls because I wanted to see you and talk to you. And that's cool. Yeah, come vet our company. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll invite you in and say, hey, come look. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to call out?
But I don't just do it for fun. I just do it because I get a lot of people who have lost money to it. You know, I get those phone calls from people who go, I've lost my money. I can't get my money out.
Yes, I think that's going to be great to have somebody like on you who's so cynical and like so hardcore of these kind of things. I think it's going to be great having someone like you come in and really audit this, even if nobody likes you because they're trying to do a rug pull or crypto scam and you're calling them out.
Lots of friends.
Dude, you get on there. What did you hop onto these noobs? What do you call it? You were saying some funny shit, dude.
So,
like
TMX Global is meant to be Brian's business. So in here, I've basically gate crashed their, and this was a wee while ago, their meeting. They have claimed that they are the owners of TMX, right? And since then, I asked them a whole lot of questions and they never replied to my right of reply. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Now, I could be wrong, but I'll just have a look because normally I put an update. So this is them asking. So this is what I got. This is the update. I can't remember posting this myself.
Update. One of our Avengers, known as the Terminator, has taken action. The TMX Global website has now been removed from the internet. That should tell you everything you need to know about the stability and legitimacy of this so-called crypto banking platform. When real financial services collapse, regulators shut them down. When scam projects collapse, they vanish overnight, just like TMX Global.
Yeah, so we actually got our Terminator, one of the Avengers, to take down their website, and I think it's back online now. It is, but that caused a mayhem. But we wouldn't have got that taken offline. But what happens is sometimes we don't get control of the domain name, and they just move hosting provider. But we literally took down that website, and that's the update on it. So what I'm getting at here, guys, we've done a whole blog in the past about TMX Global. We've got this Predixa by TMX. So as far as I'm aware, it's the same company. And then we've got Brian here telling me he doesn't own the company, but he was one of the original investors. Does he say, I am an original investor? And then he's saying, you're wasting your time. I'm laying with a sick baby. Have fun, Dan. Good night. So, and now you can see even these predictions, we don't even see the outcome of the prediction. It just basically resets itself every 5 minutes. So read that as another scam that Brian is basically promoting. I'd love to know how he actually financially supports himself, whether it's straight off commissions or his wife's a doctor or something, and she basically feeds him the money he lives on. To understand how Predixa was being promoted, I stopped reading the marketing material and started watching the presentations, as you've already seen. That's when that's often where we discover how an opportunity has actually been sold. Websites are carefully worded by lawyers and marketing teams, which I don't even believe they are. Live presentations are different than when promoters explain opportunities in plain language, answer questions, and reveal what they believe will persuade people to participate. So the marketing is one thing, and the actual terms and conditions and, MLM rules, privacy statements, legal disclaimers are often completely different to what they say. So on one hand, they say this, but the reality over here, they're contradicting themselves. One of the most prominent presenters I reviewed was Brian Rhodes. Across multiple webinars, he speaks about Predixa and the wider TMX ecosystem as someone closely involved with the project. Rather than referring to a platform from an outsider, he repeatedly uses phrases like, we have built our platform, our ecosystem, and we have raised. He discussed fundraising progress, developments, milestones, tokenomics, and future plans in a way that suggests he has direct knowledge of the project rather than simply acting as an independent affiliate promoting someone else's product, which he's now claimed he's not the owner of it. What struck me the most wasn't the technical explanation or prediction markets. It was how quickly the conversation shifted towards passive income. Again and again, the emphasis returned to the same central message. contribute to PLP, allowing the platform to grow and share in fees generated by everyone else using the ecosystem. If the ecosystem never gets traction, then he's going to fall back and say, oh, well, your shares are now worth shit. The prediction markets themselves almost become secondary, and they always do this. Everyone comes up with this amazing product like arbitrage trading, and then all of a sudden it becomes down to who you can sell a package to. The real attraction presented was the possibility of building an income stream from the activity of future users. It's always in the future. That distinction becomes even clearer when I began comparing Brian Rhodes' presentation with Predicta's own documentation. As investigation progressed, I found that some of the most confident public claims made during the webinar sat unfortunately alongside what the project's own legal disclaimers actually said. Those inconsistencies become one of the most important parts of this investigation. The promise of forever passive income. One presentation in particular caught my attention. It wasn't just because of what it was said, but it was because of the way it was framed. The title alone set the tone. Predixa overview. Forever passive income. Oh my God, it's what do they call it when a car doesn't need self-penetrates, whatever it's called, not penetrates, self-propulsion. Those three words immediately raised a red flag. In my experience investigating cryptocurrency projects and email opportunity, phrases like forever passive income deserves careful scrutiny. They create the expectation that a single contribution today could continue generating income indefinitely. It's all bullshit. Never seen it happen before. That's an extraordinary promise, and extraordinary promise deserve equally extraordinary evidence. As I watched the presentation, Brian Rhodes explained that PLP contributors were expected to actively trade predictions markets themselves. They weren't expected to actively trade predictions markets themselves. Instead, the opportunity was presented in a way to benefit from the activity of everyone else using the platform. The more trading that occurred, the greater the fees generated. The more fees generated, the greater the potential distribution to PLP holders. Click a button. Throughout the presentation, the emphasis wasn't on becoming a skilled predictor. It was on becoming an early participant, like all these scams that we investigate, in what was described as a growing ecosystem. At various points, Brian walked viewers through earning illustrations based on predicted trading volumes. So once again, it's very simple. It's not about predicting whether you're at the casino and whether you're going to go black or red. It was about owning part of the casino, and everyone that walks in the front door would have to pay a 3% fee. One example suggested that a significant PLP contribution could potentially recover your original costs within a matter of weeks under favorable assumptions. Another scenario projected daily passive incomes that would far exceed that many people could earn in a full-time. So yeah, so one guy it could exceed what many people could earn from full-time employment, although these were presented as examples rather than guarantees. They painted a compelling picture of financial independence built on the future success of the platform. That immediately led me to other questions. What evidence exists that these projects are realistic? Like, is this, like I've seen some amazing arbitrage systems in the past, and the amount of volume that you have to live off the fees that people pay. And the fact is, most of the fees that people pay, technically speaking, are shared between how many investors you've got. So if you've got 3 apples and you need to feed a crowd, it's not really going to go far, even if it is legit. At that stage of my investigation, I still haven't seen independently verified trading volumes, audited fee distributions, or historical financial data demonstrating that the platform have ever generated anything close to the revenue required to support the illustrations. It's exactly what I just said, but now it's in written form. The projections are certainly attractive. The predictions are certainly attractive, but the dependence almost entirely on assumptions about future growth rather than proven performance. So basically the theory is great, but there's no evidence of anyone actually profiting from these platforms. Now, once upon a time when I was an entrepreneur far, far away in the country of New Zealand, we often would start a business. We would prove the business is sustainable and we would start small, think big. These companies basically think big and don't even start. When the numbers started changing, promotional projections are often one thing. Projections are one thing. Whether they remain consistent over time is another. As I continue reviewing the evidence, I move beyond the presentation and into the project's official Discord community. That's often where polished marketing gives way to candid conversation between members. Moderators and promoters discuss what is actually happening behind the scenes. One discussion immediately stood out. Community members were comparing the PLP earning calculator. They were working out how much money they're going to get before the system even kicks in, used during Brian Rhodes' presentations, with a newer version that had later appeared. Several people questioned why the projected returns had fallen so dramatically. So it sounds like he's started off going down one lane, and now he's moved from the road onto the footpath. And even people in this meeting that I was watching were actually starting to question why the predicted returns have fallen so dramatically. One member commented that allegation of, what have we got? Member commented that the association, that allegation, which had previously been estimated to generate about $46 per day, was now showing closer to $5 per day. Under the updated calculator, it wasn't a small adjustment. It represented a substantial reduction in the income expectations being discussed within the community. So if you haven't got that right, once upon a time, the same calculation was going to be $46 per day, and now we're down to $5 per day. And people were starting to say, well, how come we've had such a dramatic shift? The response from moderators wasn't that the earlier figures had been wrong. Instead, they explained that the assumptions had been revised to produce more comprehensive model. While there is nothing apparently improper about updating financial predictions as new information becomes available, or no information, it does highlight an important issue. If early participants made decisions based on one set of projected returns, and those projections later changed significantly, they deserve a clear explanation of what changed and why. And this is what you're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. You invest today, you're going to get 46% return. People go and put that sort of stuff on their credit cards. They invest, they come back the next day, and they now say, we've done a new calculations. Instead of $46, you're only going to get $5. And they're going, well, why is it like 10%? Well, what is that, 10%? 20% of what you said it was going to be? Was it 11%? I don't know, not much anyway. What also caught my attention was the reaction from some community members. The conversation was centered on prediction markets, conversation wasn't centered on predictions, markets, or trading strategies. It revolved around the passive income, return on investment, and whether the revised figures still justified contributing to PLP. That reinforced an observation I'd already made from the presentations. For many people engaging with TMX, the primary attraction wasn't making predictions, it was the expectations of earning ongoing income from the platform itself. So, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe you're at the circus and someone's selling candy floss, and you go up to the counter to buy the candy floss and they tell you it's $46 a bag. And the profit on that is going to be $40 every time somebody buys a bag. And then all of a sudden you go up to the same candy stand the following week, and now they're selling the bags for $5, which is probably more realistic. But the profit margin is not going to be $40 anymore. All the guts has been taken out of it. I think I reversed explained that the wrong way. But anyway, you get the idea. People are not happy. But anyway, if you've already invested in the candy stand, you probably have to stick with it now. Inside the Discord community. Now, this is really interesting. I went back 5 months of chitter chatter in the general chat room of the Discord. Oh, okay. All right. I see. I forgot about that. All right. See, babe. Inside the Discord community, the Discord archive gave me something the public website could not. A record of how prospective participants were actually interpreting the opportunity. Members repeatedly discussed PLP allegations? Allocations, projected earnings, fundraising totals, fee distributions, and launch dates. There were comparatively little discussion. I think I'm saying that word right.
Comparatively.
Little discussion about whether Predicta's individual markets were attractive. I don't know quite what that means, but anyway, whether the odds were competitive or whether the platform had enough genuine trading activity to sustain the returns as promised. Just think about this. Now, we just had another scammer that's probably been liked up, and his name is from Super One, and he had a sporting app, and he lost his gaming license that he was trying to get way at the very onset of 2013. He's just been made, forced liquidation has happened with him. His name was, I used to know him so well. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. However, what does matter, because I was trying to think of what I was going to say, actually, fundraising, launch dates, it just never eventuated what he said was going to happen. And it was all about selling the dream rather than the actual gaming app. And he made claims like Netflix, Coca-Cola, and all these big name companies were YouTube were all investing in his company, but there was nothing to back that up. Anyway, long story short, it became a way of him sustaining his lifestyle, because every time somebody bought shares in the company, he would get the money. And he owned over 50% of the shares. So he was trying to pump the value of his shares. He gave these shares an artificial value. And as soon as he got to that artificial value, which he didn't, his exit strategy was to drop everyone the share. He would have sold his shares out for half the value that they were worth, and everyone would have been left holding the bag. And that's the problem with these schemes. You know, no one's talking about the elephant in the room. How much volume would he need to do to generate the returns? Now, NLP, my liquidity partners, has been used by Goliath Ventures. From Christopher Delgado was using their Ponzi scheme to invest money under his own umbrella, claiming that Goliath Ventures was an investment company. But what he was doing when he got investors' money, he was taking that money and putting it onto a Ponzi scheme called NLP. And when they paid out, he was taking that payout money and then paying it back to his investors. And that worked for 3 months. The scam went for 3 years, and $400 million later, that was all gone. All right? And everyone's lost all their money. But my point is the fact that these scams, if we looked at NLP, he could have looked at that and seen that they weren't doing the liquidity, the volume that they were to generate the payout, which means that if this company is claiming that they can make money from the fees they're going to charge people who use their platform, then it's ridiculous. And at the end of the day, you're going to be stuck with a token that's worth nothing. And you would think that they would focus on getting people to actually participate in these predictions. And would also be more beneficial talking about how they come up with those questions and how they actually run the whole website. But no, they're all talking about the money they're going to make when the platform hasn't been proven to actually turn over $1 yet. So like I say all the time, as I said just before, they could be selling toothpicks or airlines or skyscrapers. It doesn't matter. One member referred directly to Brian Rhodes' webinar and calculated that a $1,000 PLP contribution could potentially generate $1,000 per month. He asked whether a $10,000 contribution could therefore produce roughly $10,000 each month. So imagine that. You deposit $10,000 and you get your money back within 30 days. And then imagine getting $120,000 return from a $10,000 investment over a 12-month period. And if you compounded the money and never took it off the platform, then you would be a non-millionaire. And we've got a song about that, haven't we? The conversation quickly moved into life-changing territory, including jokes about selling a car and no longer needing to work. Another member responded that the sky is the limit. These were not people discussing a modest loyalty reward. They were interpreting PLP as a possible route to financial freedom. That matters because promoters are often protected themselves by saying, that matters because promoters often protect themselves by saying examples are only illustrations, but the multiple community members began discussing whether they can replace their salaries, recover their capital within weeks, or reconstruct their lives around project income. The effect of the marketing becomes impossible to ignore. The wording may stop short for a formal guarantee, but the impressions being created is still powerful. Right, the discourse discussion also showed that the project had reportedly replaced about 5.7 million for the PLP liquidity pool. Moderators explained that combined capital would become part of the platform's liquidity base. So I don't know why. You've got Brian here claiming that he's not the owner of Predixa, but they're using Predixa to basically associate themselves with TMX. I don't quite follow that, so if you do, please let me know in the comment sections. Moderators explained that the combined capital would become part of the platform's liquidity base. And I don't know how that works when Brian claims he's not the owner of Predixa. While fees generate through activities would be distributed separately. I don't know. While I don't know. I'm going to read that because I'm getting a bit hot.
While fees generated through activity would be distributed separately, yet members were still waiting for clear public reporting showing how much real trading was taking place, how many fees were being generated, and whether the platform's early performance could support any of the income projections circulating within the community.
Yeah, so the big question is there actually any performance available? Has anyone used the system? How many people are running gambling bets every day? That's what I want to know. Launch that wasn't quite a launch as a piece. So we noticed there's a few videos on his website, and they were claiming that it was basically ready to rock and roll. However, I don't know if I can find it quickly, but there was a video basically saying it's going to be launched. There's Predixa there. So Predixa, are you passing off somebody else's name again? Oh, that's not even them. Why can't you get yourself your own name? So Predixa, and there's no human in there, but I'm sure there's a Brian in here somewhere. Let's have a look. Brian Rhodes, there he is. So if you go back to his own videos, click on videos if you don't know how to navigate around there. You come down to 2 months ago, you go to 3 months ago. So now what we've got is a video, and we should have
what's going on.
a
LP
countdown
providers,
clock.
but the TMX holders did a video on the phone where I did 130. You want to make sure that you're
right.
In your
So they're doing a
the
pre-sale,
right? You're in Arbitrum. You got a little.
So there, it's interesting now, Brian. So you've got $10,000 in your MetaMask wallet, and you connected your main MetaMask wallet to this one. Good on you, bro. So he's got I don't know. He's got $10,000 worth of TMX. I presume that's his. Ethereum, $45, $8. I don't believe that this TMX is actually worth that much. And I don't know whether you can get this TMX off the platform, which is often a telltale sign. But here you can actually see that the sale ends in 60 days' time, and that's what I was looking for before. This video is 3 months old, so I'm assuming that there's no more chance to actually buy into this on the sale. But then again, as always, fear of missing out comes into effect. And there we go. We have the sale now ends in 17 days. Do you see what's happening here, kids? The sale keeps on getting moved, which is absolutely batshit crazy. So a video that was 3 months ago was 60 days. And now we've got another 30 days extension, probably, just guessing, which is ridiculous. Anyway, as I piece together the timeline, another inconsistency emerges. Public announcement celebrated the arrival of Predixa, describing it as a live platform ready for users. Yet, at the same time, the website continues promoting a limited time PLP Pre-sale, complete with countdown, encouraging people to participate before the opportunity closed. Well, we just saw the extension already. That immediately struck me as unusual. Most technology companies launch a product first and allow the markets to determine its success, not the other way around. Here is the product launch, and the fundraising campaign appears to overlap. The prediction market was, maybe they were having a bet whether they're going to be successful or not. I don't know. The prediction market was presented as an operational, while the contributions were still being encouraged to buy into the ecosystem before the fundraising window expired. Discord discussions reflected the uncertainty. Members asked when PLP distributions would actually begin. And that's funny. So all these people have bought into the PLP distribution, and now they're wondering when they're going to start being able to get the dividends that they were promised. First of all, you'll need to have the traders, won't you? The people that want to bet. And moderators explained that although Predixa had launched, the fee distribution would not commence until the fundraising process has completed. Well, guess what's going to happen, guys? The fundraising is going to keep getting moved, and we've already seen it move once. In other words, the platforms could be considered live, but one of its most heavily promoted features, the passive income stream from PLP distributors, remains dependent on future milestones. So now the excuses are going to start, and that's why we're here. Now they have to start delivering on their claims. That raised another important question. If the platform is already in operational, why did the fundraising still need to continue? What's the fundraising for? And if millions of dollars have already been reportedly committed to PLP, what additional capital was required before the contributions could begin receiving the fee distributions that had featured so prominently throughout the promotional presentations? You see where we're going with this? Those questions became even more significant when I looked for the evidence of actual trading activity. Despite the confidence marketing surrounding Predixa's launch, community members were asked for basic statistics such as trading volume, marketing activity, and public dashboards. The response suggested those figures were either not yet available or had not yet been made public. Of course, they'll never be made public because they probably don't exist. For anyone trying to independently assess the health of the ecosystem, that absence of transparent performance data made it difficult to evaluate whether the platform was growing in line with the ambitious projects being presented. So here they are telling everyone they're going to go to the Mars and back, and we've got no proof of nothing. No one has been using the program that we've seen. And it's basically a sales pitch to sell shares in a token that's probably worth absolutely nothing, or shares in a company. So you bought a dud, in other words. When I read Predixa's terms and service, whether I'm investigating a cryptocurrency project, I always read the terms and conditions. They're my favorite. The amount of websites that don't have them is incredible, but that's a different matter. That's where the marketing stops and the legal obligations begin. Companies can propose almost anything in a webinar or promotional video, but the legal documents often tell a very different story. At first glance, Predixa terms look very standard. They explained that users must be over 18. Yippee-yay, mother. Anyway, prediction markets involved financial risks. Participants can lose their money. I don't know why. There was nothing surprising about that, but as I kept reading, several statements immediately caught my attention because they didn't seem to match what I heard during the promotional presentations. The biggest surprise came from one sentence. Predixa does not act as a counterpart to any prediction. Okay, that stopped me in my tracks because Brian Rhodes' presentations, he explained the business model very differently. He described Predixa as taking the opposite side of many trades and suggested the platform could achieve a 90 to 95% win rate. How about that? Because most traders lose money over time. If that is an accurate description of how the platform operates, it raises a very obvious question. Who is making the other side of the trade? Who's taking the other side of the trade? Because according to Predixa's own terms and conditions, it isn't Predixa. The legal documents raise even more questions than they answer. Reading through Predixa's terms of service, privacy policy, and public documentation, I wasn't expecting to find proof of a scam, That's not how investigations work. What I was looking for was something much simpler: clarity. If a project was reportedly raised millions of dollars, I would expect the legal documents to explain exactly who is operating it, who is representing it, responsible for it, and what rights participants actually have. Instead, I finished reading them with more questions than answers. One of the biggest gaps relates to PLP itself. Throughout the promotional material, PLP is presented as a way to share in the platform's future success, if they do have success. Investors are encouraged to contribute USDT with the expectations that a percentage of the platform's fees will eventually be distributed back to them. Yet, when I searched for the legal documents, I struggled to find a detailed explanation of what legal interest PLP holders actually own. You would think if you bought shares in a company, you would have some sort of certificate to give you peace of mind. Is it simply access to the reward program? Do you get access to the back end? Do you get access to the game of Monopoly? Is it contractual entitlement? Can it be revoked? Can the terms be changed? We just saw them predicting you're going to get $46, and now they're saying they're predicting you're going to get $5. That's dramatically different to what future claims that have been made. The documents don't appear to explain those points in any meaningful detail. The same issue applies to the company behind the platform. I looked for a clearly identified legal entity, a registered company, a governing jurisdiction, and the laws that would apply if a dispute ever arose. Those are fairly standard details for a business asking people to commit substantial sums of money. Remember, you're paying to be a shareholder here. Yet I couldn't find a straightforward explanation identifying exactly who participants are entering. I'm going to actually read that for a second, getting a bit tongue twisted.
Who participants are entering into an agreement with. For anyone considering contributing thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars, that's an important question.
Yeah, okay. So we've got Brian here now telling us that he's not even the owner of it, but not stating who the owner is. None of this proves wrongdoing. Well, thank you, ChatGPT. Absence of information is not evidence of fraud. Thank you, ChatGPT. But it does increase uncertainty. Good due diligence isn't just about asking whether a platform looks exciting. It's about understanding who is accountable if things don't go as planned. Before committing money to any project, especially to one built around future fee distributions and passive income, those are questions every investor should be asking. The question that deserves clear, unambiguous answers?
Unambiguous.
I'm getting good these days. Right, next section. The ambassadors are told not to say what the promoters are saying. How's that work? Get that? Ambassadors are told not to say what promoters are saying. One document I found particularly interesting wasn't aimed at investors at all. It was at TMX Ambassador Brand Kit. Now, this is really interesting. You come here and you can click on the homepage of the website. I don't even know that's going to work, so we're just going to go back to the homepage, right? And then you can come down here and you can actually, I think you could open the app. No, I've got that wrong. Ambassadors, here we go. Yep, ambassadors. So here you could actually download the full media kit, which is basically what looks like the templated website. And I opened this up yesterday. I don't know if I can do it now because I don't think I deleted the files. I'll just have a look. But what we come up with, here it is this. So now I've got this on my local hard drive and it's the overview. How to use this kit. Which TMX is this? Logo, how to use it. Clear space, give it ear. The colors, the font, the brand lookups, add laws, do and don't, telling you how they want their brand. So this is like, how to use the whole, and look, you can actually go in here and download the whole pack assets. And I think I just did that again. I'll just have a look to make sure it's the same as yesterday's. So let's have a look at the assets. In here, is it the same file as yesterday? I don't even know how to open this. I don't even know that will open. Let's have a logo. Yeah, no, it's everything. So basically you could reproduce the whole website using those files and redesign everything. As long as you do it within the brand guidelines, they're all good to go. So anyway, the brand kit. This was guidance provided to people promoting the project, setting out what they should and shouldn't say when speaking to potential participants. So remember, we've heard from Brian now that was promoting this like it was part of the company, is now claiming that he's just a big shareholder, not the actual owner. On the surface, it reads exactly as you would expect. Ambassadors are instructed to avoid making income guarantees, avoiding promising specific returns, avoid suggesting that Predixa is risk-free opportunity. They are also told not to invent stats or make claims that can't be supported from the compliance prospective sensitive advice. Hold on, I'm just going to read that.
From a compliance perspective, that's sensible advice.
Yeah, but the interesting things, you see them in these Zoom meetings and you see them in these YouTube videos making other claims. The problem is that some of the public presentations I reviewed painted a much more optimistic future. Brian Rhodes repeatedly spoke about forever passive income. Maybe he lives on a shoestring. I don't know. He's got 5 kids. I doubt it. Illustrated how quickly participants might recover their initial contributions. So that's what he was saying. You make your money back within a month. And used examples showing substantial ongoing monthly returns. Obviously, the $46 is now $5 return, but that changed after lots of people invested, no doubt. He may well have intended those figures as illustrations rather than promises, but it's easy to see how listeners could walk away believing those returns were realistic expectations rather than hypothetical scenarios. Now, we know that we can look at Brian's historical history, his history of promoting Ponzi schemes and scams, and every single one of them's fallen over or are worthless. So nothing he said is like the little boy that cries wolf. That disconnect is important. What a company tells its promoters privately and what prospective participants actually hear publicly should broadly align. If ambassadors are warned not to create unrealistic expectations, yet webinars are dominated by discussions about passive income, rapid capital recovery, and long-term earnings, there is a risk that the overall message becomes muddled. I'm not suggesting anyone deliberately ignored the guidance. Thank you, ChatGPT. What I am saying is that after reviewing the marketing, webinar, and community discussions together, the emphasis appeared to shift away from predictions markets and towards financial opportunities surrounding PLP. That distinction matters because people don't invest based solely on legal disclaimers. They invest based on the impressions they take away. As I continued digging, another question emerged. If Predixa was intended to succeed because people enjoyed using the prediction markets, then the obvious metric should be user activity. How many active traders are there? How many people are using the platform? What is the daily trading volume? That would be interesting to know. How much revenue has actually been generated through platform fees? Like, are these people, is this actually feasible? You know, like 50% of people say yes, 50% of people say no, no one makes any money. 60% of people say yes, and 40% of people get it wrong. Where's the money being made? People have to buy into this platform to participate in gambling, and they're going to tell people that the big investment is actually in the fees that have been generated. So the big obvious question is how many people are actually using the platform? Because otherwise, if no one's using the platform, no fees are going to be generated. Where is the trading volume? Predixa says a charge of a flat fee of 3% for activity. So you've even got that to contend with, haven't you? You put $100 in it, $3 of that money goes off to the fee for participation. On activity taking place, a 3% fee on activity taking place through the platform. That fee is important because the entire PLP opportunity appears to be dependent on people continuing to use Predixa in Predixa in sufficient numbers. Without meaningful trading volume, there are fewer fees. Without enough fees, there is less revenue available for PLP distributions, buybacks, or anything else connected to the ecosystem. They must go after clients that are really brain dead, I reckon, to invest in this sort of stuff. This is why when I'm looking at the most basic performance figures, I wanted to see daily trading volumes, active user numbers, total fees collected, and the amount of actual distributed to PHP participants. If they were claiming to be transparent, like all these programs, you think that wouldn't be a big ask, but we got no reply back from somebody who now claims they're not even an owner of Predixa. Instead, the Discord discussions showed members asking the same information, while moderators indicated that a public dashboard was not available yet. Do not invest in anything where there's no proof of anything. That is difficult to ignore. Predixa was already being described as launched. Millions of dollars had reportedly been raised, and the PLP opportunity was being promoted around the income that future platforms' fees might generate. Yet the public still appeared unavailable to see the numbers needed to judge whether the expectations were realistic. Early Discord comments referred only to small numbers of trades making place after launch, which made the lack of transparency reporting even more important. The platform also promotes the system where part of the fees may be used for buybacks, and when permanently blocked, according to the website. Hold it, we're going to read this right. I'm just going to read that whole paragraph because it's just going to be easy for Danny.
The platform also promotes a system where part of its fees may be used for buybacks and then permanently locked. According to the website, 20% of fee revenue is allocated towards this process. That may sound attractive in marketing material, but it creates another question. If part of the revenue is being used for buybacks, another portion is being distributed to PLP holders, and the platform still needs money for operating costs, development and administration, how exactly is the 3% fee divided?
Yeah, so the 3% fee that's getting divvied up to PLP people theoretically is also have to take out the running fees of the website and potentially paying the executives, whoever they are, I would think. This should not require guesswork. A project built around fee sharing should clearly show how much fee revenue is being collected, what percentage goes to PLP holders, what percentage funds buyback, what percentage remains with the platform, and how the distributions are calculated. This is amazing stuff. This is an easy investigation. I was preparing this yesterday in another live I was doing, and I couldn't read the entire blog as I was creating it with the receipts that we were feeding into ChatGPT. And now we've got everything back. This is actually an incredibly simple investigation. At the time of my review, I could not find promotional explanations, calculators, and estimates. What I could not find was an independently verifiable public record showing what Predixa had generated during genuine trading activity to support the outcome predictions being discussed around PLP. That is not a minor detail. It is the foundation of the entire opportunity appears to rest upon. Following the money. Whenever I investigate a project like this, I always ask the same question. If I sent money today, where does it actually go? How should a simple, it sounds like a simple question, but it's often one of the hardest ones for anyone to answer. In the case of PLP, contribution purchases there. I'm going to read that because I've twisted that all already up.
In the case of PLP, contributors purchase their allocation using USDT, with the understanding that the funds will help grow the Predixa ecosystem. The promotional material talks about expanding liquidity, supporting the platform, and creating an environment where future trading fees can generate ongoing distributions. On paper, that sounds straightforward.
You know, one thing that Danny would think, I'm not really into crypto at all, but why do we need to actually convert our money into PLP? Why don't we just use USDT? And why doesn't everyone just get paid in USDT? Because once you exchange your money from USDT to PLP shares, those shares can go up in value a lot sharper than USDT does. And if we need to distribute, money, $1,000 USDT into a platform, then why doesn't it just use that for its currency? I mean, it's like going into a shop and then realizing that you walk into the shop and they go, how many groceries do you want? And you go, well, I don't know yet. I haven't been through the shop yet. And they go, well, how much do you normally spend on groceries when you shop with USDT? And you go, I don't know, $200. Okay, well, we'll give you 200 shopping vouchers. And then you can go in and do your shopping. In fact, we'll give you 220 of our shopping dollars, and you can use them when you get to the cash register. So you get yourself into the supermarket and you realize all the vegetables are moldy, all the meat has gone green, no one's really in there doing any buying, and they've got a few canned baked beans or whatever you want to call them in the shop. They've got a few chocolate bars and a few soft drinks that you never want to buy. But at the end of the day, you struggle to spend your 220 PLP dollars in the shop because the vegetables suck, because they didn't have enough volume going through the supermarket to keep the shelves blemished properly. And that's the same things with these guys. I just don't understand why you have to change your money into their dollars. Well, I do understand why they want you to, because they literally want those USDTs and then they exchange you to monopoly money. But as I dug deeper, I struggled to build a complete picture of the money flow. For example, millions of dollars were reportedly raised through PLP program. That's a significant amount of capital, yet I would find a detailed explanation. I couldn't find a detailed explanation showing exactly how those funds were allocated. How much was reserved for liquidity? How much was spent on software development? How much covered salaries, marketing, legal costs, day-to-day operations? Was any of it held in treasury? Were there independent audits showing those funds and how they've been managed? Those are not hostile questions. They are the same questions any sensible investor should ask before committing substantial sums of money. The same applies to governance. Predixa promotes itself as decentralized, but decentralization exists on a spectrum. Someone still has to build the software, maintain the infrastructure, market the platform, manage the updates, and make strategic decisions. They don't just run themselves, even if you do have smart contracts. During my research, I found plenty of discussion about the technology and the opportunity, but comparatively little explaining who ultimately controls those decisions and what accountability exists if participants disagree with them. So if you don't like the company after you're a shareholder, what happens? Is it DAO? Don't know. This investigation isn't about proving the money has been misused. I've seen no evidence to support that conclusion. Rather, it highlights the absence of publicly available information and would allow contributions to make fully informed decisions. When people are being encouraged to contribute thousands of dollars based on future success of an ecosystem, transparency is a luxury. It isn't a luxury, it is an expectation. You want our money, you want me to invest in this, but you need to give me full transparency. It's not even about your intellectual property. It's about, if I'm investing here, what's the running cost of the company? How much liquidity do we have? And so when this 3% fee, which seems like the only income stream that we see coming from the platform, how much of that money is coming in at the moment? How much liquidity is coming in? As I continued reviewing the evidence, I realized the unanswered questions weren't limited to finances. There was another issue that keeps surfacing throughout the webinars, Discord discussions, and marketing material: the language itself. The language deserves a closer look. One of the things that became increasingly apparent as I reviewed the presentations, website, Discord discussions, and promotional material, words matter. They shape expectations, influence decisions, and often revealed how the project wants to be perceived. Throughout the webinars, Brian Rhodes, our hero, regularly uses phrases like we, our platform, our ecosystem, and we've raised over $5 million. Now here he is claiming in a message to me just now, well not just now, an hour and a half ago, I don't own Predixa. And here he is telling us that he's raised over $5 million. Well, that's a pretty interesting claim to make to somebody that doesn't even own the company. To an ordinary viewer, the language naturally creates the impression that he is speaking from inside the project rather than an independent affiliate or a enthusiastic supporter. I am not suggesting he owns Predixa or controls controls TMX. I've seen no evidence that supports that, because everything's not transparent here, ladies and gentlemen. It's all made up. So you will buy USDT into their platform and change it to their worthless PLP. It's not rocket science. But the language he uses gives the impression that someone closely involved in the project development and strategy. So he basically implies that he's part of the company, but now he's sent me a message saying he's not. That distinction is important because people tend to place greater weight on statements made by someone who believes to be inside knowledge. As soon as this all goes pear-shaped, he's going to say that the person he was talking to dropped him like a bar of hot soap and he's in the same boat as you. When someone says, we're building this or we've achieved that, listeners often assume they're hearing from information directly inside the source. Whether intentional or not, that can add credibility to claims about future growth, projected adoption, and passive income opportunities. It's all bullshit. They use the same shit every day. They all talk about the same shit, and then when it all goes pear-shaped, they use the same strategies to say they're in the same boat as you. I also notice another recurring theme. The language frequently focused on what Predixa could become rather than what it actually already had received. There were discussions about future trading volume, future adoption, future buybacks, and future fee distributions. There's nothing inherently wrong with optimism. Every startup talks about vision. And if you go to their website, which I did think was quite funny, if you go to Predixa, I don't know if we can do it from here. I was trying to read the About Us section, how it works, ways to protect, About Us. It might have been his other opportunity here. Let's have a look. They did actually have, I think it's one of those. He actually did have About Us, and it was quite nice. It had a vision, because I thought, oh, here we go. Services about. So you click on About Us, and they just have a vision and a mission. The words are the most discreet crypto flat banking. So this is, I can't even highlight this. It won't let me highlight it. I do have a fancy thing that lets me do that. Unblock, enable copy. There we go. Does that let me do it now? I'm about to have to refresh it. 1 minute, please, call. I've got this nice piece of software on my computer now that enables me to actually highlight stuff, and it's not working. Let's have another go. Unblock mode. Enabled. All right, let's see if we can do it now. We're just going to have refresh on that one. I'm pretty sure that will enable me to copy it. It didn't. Very good. Anyway, what I'm getting at here is instead of the About Us section, it's basically got a mission and a vision, but it doesn't say who the company owners are and the like, hence why I couldn't figure that out. About this vision, but there is an important difference between describing a current performance and describing a future potential. As an investor, I always try to separate two things. If it is perfectly reasonable to say a platform hopes to attract thousands of traders, it is another thing entirely if the prospective contributions is making. Hold it, we're just going to read that. Let's get rid of that.
Prospective contributors begin making investment decisions as though those traders already exist. By the end of my research, I found myself coming back to the same question again and again.
If PLP being valued on what Predixa has already demonstrated, is PLP being valued on what Predixa has already demonstrated or on what everyone hopes it will eventually become? Think about that. Just think about what I said there. It's all these scams, every single one of them. I've done probably over 300 Ponzi schemes and scams in the last 5 years, and every single one of them is about what's going to happen in the future. None of them that I've investigated have ever got anywhere close to where they say they're going to be. They've all collapsed, all of them. For anyone considering contributing their own money, that may be the single most important question in the entire conversation. Questions every potential investor should be asking. By this point in my investigation, I wasn't looking for more marketing videos. I wasn't looking for another webinar explaining how exciting the future will be. I simply wanted straightforward answers to straightforward questions. If someone is asking if someone is asking the public to contribute money to a project, whether it's $100 or $100,000, these questions shouldn't be controversial. They shouldn't be negative. They shouldn't say you've got to believe in the project. They should answer these questions in a heartbeat. Who is the legal entity behind Predixa? We thought it was Brian, but he's thrown the towel in now. Now I've sent him a writer reply, and he says he doesn't own the company. Who owns and controls the PLP funds? Well, it sounds like if you go back to Brian's original video here, he actually claims, if you go back, that he has got the, I think it was here a month ago, and you listen to the very start.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? So it's June 3rd. This presentation is over Predixa. It's a decentralized prediction market. And I'm going to talk about a lot here, so that way you can be able to share this with people if they're interested in learning how to participate in earning from fees from a prediction market, which is really cool. It's completely decentralized, no KYC, works inside of your DApp wallet. You don't have to buy any of the community tokens, the TMX tokens, even be a part of it. You just have to purchase with USDT or multiple different tokens. There's a bridge for you to buy PLP.
PLP. 4 days ago, what do we have here? I think this was the one.
And this is something that is going to blow your mind, right? We've just launched this yesterday, day before yesterday.
So we have just launched this yesterday. Now we're talking to a message that says, I don't own Predixa. I am an original investor. He's just an investor, but he's saying we.
Soft launch, so we've got users using it. But here's the thing.
We've got no proof of anyone using it, Brian.
We've raised almost $6 million in liquidity, and during this soft launch right now,
So the soft launch has produced over $6 million in liquidity. Prove it. Show us on the blockchain where this liquidity sits.
The stage, we're only using $100,000 of that liquidity to test it out with our users that are using it. We got people that are mind blown, that are doing over 100 trades a day already. And let me tell you about the advantages.
So you're one of those users, and I've got this dramatically wrong. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know about the trades that you're doing, 100 trades a day, because that's quite a remarkable claim, an extraordinary claim. And extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But 100 trades a day, if you've got users that are doing this 100 trades a day, then make it transparent. Show us on the blockchain where these trades are happening, and also how much fees have been generated from these 100 trades, Brian, because otherwise you're just another scammer promoting another scam.
Of doing this. So I'm going to first share my screen. This is the prediction market, right? You're new. How do I get started to this? You can just go to app.predixa.xyz. It's right there.
So you get the idea. You can watch that video in your own time, but who owns and controls PLP funds? Who are the funds? How are these funds safeguarded? Has an independent audit been conducted? What are the actual daily trading volumes? How much fees revenue has been generated since the launch? How much has been distributed to PLP holders? Because in the distort group, nothing's happening. What happens if the platform fails to attract enough users? Because that's pretty obvious. These aren't gotcha questions. They are the sort of questions that any prudent investor should ask before parting with their money. One thing I've learned over investigating countless cryptocurrency projects is that good business actually welcomes difficult questions. They understand transparency builds. They understand that transparency builds confidence. If a project has solid foundations, evidence becomes its greatest marketing tool. Transparency is what gets my money. You don't need what's that word? Exaggerated projects when the numbers speak for themselves. That's why I found myself searching for objective evidence rather than promotional material. I wanted to see real usage, real statistics, and independently verifiable performance. If Predixa is genuinely building a successful prediction market, those predictions should become increasingly compelling over time. Much of the material available to prospective participants is still appeared to focus on what could happen in the future. So everything's in the future, nothing's in the present. We say that every single day I'm doing my live broadcasts. Nothing is happening in the present. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. I do drop shipping for a living. If I give any predictions to people how good the dropshipping shop will go, I really can say, look, I can only show you what I've done, and I can show you how long it took before I started selling products. I can tell you that once you sell 1,000 products a month, then you won't have any additional fees, all this sort of stuff. I can tell people from my experience, but I can't sit here and start up my very first dropshipping website. I can't go onto the internet and search for dropshipping stories and find the best story ever and say this is what you're going to get, because it doesn't add up. Because most of these people that are telling you to invest in these early startup are going to tell you the story about Bitcoin and how no one thought Bitcoin was going to be worth anything. And now look at it. It's worth, $80,000 of Bitcoin. At one stage, you could buy a whole lot of pizzas for that price. You know what I'm saying? These guys are predicting the future like a fortune teller, but they have this, in this particular case, there's no proof of anything. It's all hypothetically made up. It's just ridiculous. The recurring theme where growth, expansion, adoption, and passive income, they are painted as ambitious vision, painted an ambition vision, but the vision is not the same as evidence. Apparently, this investigation isn't about telling what people should do with their money. It's not my job. You can do whatever you like with money. I don't care, but don't come to me asking for help to get your money back when you've lost it all. My job is to present the information I've found, highlight the questions, and the questions that remain unanswered, and encourage readers to carry out their own due diligence. Because once you transfer your money, it's your risk, not the promoter's. So it's very important to, like we often, if I go to deheck.com, I'm just going to shut down some of these windows. I'm a bit pushed for time at the moment, but you'll get the idea. So I've just shut down all these windows. You go to deheck.com, and if you are on my website and you're thinking about investing in this stuff and you're thinking Danny's got some good advice, on the right-hand side behind my head, there's a thing called ebooks. And if you click on ebooks, it will take you to 5 ebooks that I actually have produced, which highlight the investment scam survival guide, the recovery scam survival guide. If you've lost your money, is there any chance of getting your money back? Funny, I've only sold one of those. Then you've got the recruitment trap, your friend that comes to you telling you they've got an opportunity. How to read those type of people. You may have not seen that guy for 4 years. That's how I got into doing my my YouTube channel. Somebody come to me I hadn't heard from for 4 years telling me that if I invested in this opportunity, I'd be able to buy my own home. This is the type of friends that come out of the woodwork. So how to identify those recruitment traps where people are trying to recruit you rather than being your friend. Already invested, your exit and damage control guide, or the red flag playbook. They're all booklets or guides that you can download. You pay $5 for them or more if you want to help support what we do. But those booklets there are designed that you can share to your friends who think they know better. I've just been privy to a dear friend of ours whose children lost $3 million in investment. She was trying to help them realize it was an investment. They were young. Mum was 20, 30 years older. And she was trying to convince her children who wouldn't listen to her that they were participating in a scam. Those children have now lost over $3 million. It's just devastated them. Mum's still there to help, not financially, but help emotionally. But that's what we get. These books are designed to give those young couples a booklet to read. If you know somebody who thinks they know better than you, buy one of my books, support what I do for $5, send that book off to them if you want to, and make use of it so that they can see the pitfalls, because people are not seeing these pitfalls. And that way you can support the work that we do, and we're very appreciative. So what we're doing now is we're going to this section here. At the time of my review, I could not find any promotional explanations, calculators, or estimates that could find was independently verified public records showing that Predixa had generated enough genuine trading activity to support the income expectations being discussed around PLP. That's not a minor detail. It is a foundation, it is the foundation of the entire opportunity. So I think I've got the right one. Just make sure I'm not getting too ahead of myself. Where's the trading volume? And I think we're down to the last paragraph, if I'm right. Language that deserves a closer look. No, I think I've actually managed to double up here. I I have. I've got way past. I must have been on a different area. Sorry about that, guys. We'll go back to here. I'll just see if I've got that there. That's where it's meant to be. Now you've done it, Danny. The questions that still need answers. We asked those, I think. No, we didn't. Yeah, so we're up to here. So the questions that still need answers. After spending countless hours reviewing the website, legal documents, webinars, Discord discussions, and promotional materials, I came away with one overriding impression. Predixa may be well built and interesting prediction market. Prediction markets are not inherently pragmatic, and the blockchain technology continues to produce informative ideas. If the platform succeeds in attracting a large and active community of traders, it could develop into something significant. But PLP is a different question altogether. So the concept may sound intriguing, and yes, like Bitcoin, it could be the next best thing. To me, it's like gambling, and you'd need gaming licenses to be able to, just because you change Predixa from casino, and you're at the casino and you're betting red versus black, it doesn't mean it's be legal to be able to use this in your country. That's just Danny's thinking, and that's some angle that we haven't explored. The opportunity becomes promoted isn't simply about making predictions of the future events. It's about contributing money today based on expectations that the future platform activity will generate ongoing passive income. That expectation relies on a series of assumptions: that traders will arrive, that trading volume will grow, that fees revenues will be sufficient, and that the distribution model will work exactly as described. Those assumptions may prove correct. They may also prove overly optimistic. What concerned me through this investigation wasn't a single piece of evidence. It was a combination of factors: strong passive income messaging, millions reported raised, limited public available performance data, legal documents that leave important questions unanswered, and a community discussion to focus more on projected returns than actual trading activity. None of those points on its own prove misconduct. Taken together, however, they are enough to make me pause. So hopefully we've just created some awareness, and that's I will need to buy your ebooks. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh, thank you. It would really help us out. We rely on donations, so we do appreciate the donations that people give us along the way. And many hands make light work, keeping us going. So as someone who has spent years investigating investment fraud, I've learned that transparency is earned, not assumed. The more money a project asks people to commit, the higher the standard to disclosure, the higher the standard of disclosure should be. Investors shouldn't have to piece together how an opportunity works by watching webinars, reading Discord messages, or comparing them against legal documents. The answers should be obvious. Until they are, I believe anyone considering PLP should proceed with extreme caution, ask difficult questions, and insist on independently verifiable evidence before making any financial commitment. If TMX or Predixa responds to the writer reply, which we have had a writer reply, now the guy that's telling you that he was bringing this to you now claims he's not the owner and he is only an investor, or what he is the original investor. Isn't that crazy? So the very guy I'm writing this this thing about, we wrote him a writer reply. We sent him a whole lot of questions, and he come back and told me to basically plug in Predixa to my MetaMask wallet, because that's the one I have, and trust that I'm not going to jeopardize my crypto. Instead of answering my questions, he told me to give it a go rather than answering my questions. And then in the live chat session while I'm recording this, Brian has come back and said, "Hey, Dan, I don't own Predixa. I'm a original investor." into it, but I don't own it. So that is batshit crazy, because as I showed you on his YouTube channel, he talks about we, them, I am, we have, and all this sort of stuff. It's absolutely batshit crazy that they now come back and say that. He's moving the liability. So if he does reply properly to my right of reply, provides additional documentation, or corrects any factual errors identified in this investigation, I will publish that response in full and update this article accordingly, because that is the difference between promotion and investigation. One asks you to believe, and the one asks for evidence. So, you know, as we do with all our investigations, we are awesome investigators. We are proud of what we do. This is how we ask questions, and this is how we do our investigations. So, look, thank you very much. How much the version ebooks were Susie reads me. What does it say? Funny. I'll tell her that. So if we get a audio version of my book or my booklets and Susie's reading them, we have a premium service. Susie is one of our head investigators at the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance, otherwise known as AAA. And she is certainly one of my better sounding investigators. What do I call it? Avengers. And she's got a very good voice for our YouTube lives and the like. And she comes on the show every now and again. So we could actually get Susie to do a reading one day, and then we could package it up and we could sell it off, and that would be another way of keeping the wolves away from the door. Hey, thanks for the lovely comments, guys. It's been absolutely blast. Had 185 comments in recording this live. I have been live for 5 hours and 6 minutes, and I record my sessions live, and I will chop up this video, and it will probably be around about an hour and a half or 2 hours long, and this will be embedded and replace the current video that you see here. And when you press play, you will actually see the video that we've cut out a lot of the stuff I don't want to be in it. Sometimes I get interrupted along the way. Things happen in life, and I can't be here all the time. But that is our recording, and that is Brian. So we've gone from Brian promoting on his YouTube channel a new platform that he's launched, to Brian messaging me halfway through this live telling me that he doesn't own the company anymore. You can't eat the cake and eat it too, but they will use every marketing technique known to man to get you to part with your USDT. I'm Danny DeHeck, and I have a team of Avengers that help me as we work around the clock, looking at financial schemes and scams that are on the internet, and we provide you the evidence so you can make an informed decision. We're a bunch of volunteers. We have busted scams that have gone down to be $1.9 billion scams, and that's Hyperverse. Also, BG Wealth Sharing, which I believe is $1 billion scam. And just recently, we have been featured on CoffeeZilla. CoffeeZilla is a YouTuber who documented one of the scams that we just recently done, and I've just clicked on his link.
You do zero work.
And he has currently had 4.2 million views in 2 months from this video that we produced. And he was one of the few independent reporters that actually got me to go to America.
Of Goliath Ventures. They registered the domain name for my liquidity partners and Goliath Ventures 20 days apart. I think Chris just copied the...
And it was a joy to have an independent journalist interview me, and I got a chance to tell my story. And that's what we do. So we're here to help investors. If you've lost your money, we're sorry to hear that. We can't get your money back. And if anyone claims they can get your crypto back, they're lying to you. If you are involved in some investment opportunity and you want us to do a review, you can go to deheck.com and you can actually sponsor us to do a review. We won't tell you it's good to go, but we will tell you and highlight all the red flags and give you all the reasons why we wouldn't invest. Over my last 5 years investigating scams and fraud online, I haven't actually come up with an amazing investment opportunity that I would even be happy to promote to you. My recommendation is put your money in the bank. Be an entrepreneur, find a product or a service, make a profit, put your profit in the bank is the safest investment from my knowledge. Any idea of putting your money into a platform or handing your money over to a stranger that's a friend of the family and generating ridiculous returns like 1% per day is ridiculous. And we've just saw $400 million be lost to Goliath Ventures, where people were told they were going to get 3 to 8% return per month. Wake up, guys. We're at the top of the cliff. We're in the trenches fighting these scammers head to head. We don't want you to be pushed over the financial cliff. We can't help you at the bottom of the cliff, but we can create awareness and educate you on how to identify somebody who's lying to you, who doesn't have the full story, and they're just telling you all the good stuff and everything's in the future. Don't know if that's the best closure that I've had, but that's me done for the day. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you, Neville, in the chat room, and hello to I can't read your name, but let's call you 4185. Nice to have you in the chat room, and that's 185 comments in this live that you can read in the playback. See you in the next video. I'm Danny the Heck and the Avengers. Stay safe.
Yesterday said he found a brand new game to play. Just click up, mate, or maybe down. We'll all be millionaires by Christmas now. He flashed a chart, he flashed a smile, talked passive income all the while. Said luck's been replaced by strategy. I nearly spilled my cup of tea. Everybody's got tomorrow's news. Everybody's wearing betting shoes. Nobody can tell me why. They're psychic guys. Predict, predict, predict. Flip another digital brick. Up or down, round and round. Everybody's wearing the prediction crown. Passive income, so they say. Tomorrow's jackpot, any day. If guess is now a business plan, I've got a bridge to sell the man. Flexing at the gym, talking like the odds love him. We raised millions loud and proud. Everyone's applauding in the crowd. Screens are flashing green and blue. Promises are coming through, but underneath the fancy graphs, I'm still looking for the maths. Everybody's got the secret code. Everybody's on the easy road. Funny how the future's bright till someone turns off all the lights. Predict, 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 predict. Flip another digital brick. Up or down, spin around. Someone tell me who's cashing out. Passive income sounds so sweet till reality misses a beat. If luck became a guaranteed skill, Las Vegas would be bankrupt still. Crystal balls and telegram, another self-proclaimed smart man. Charts and arrows everywhere, but evidence, it's pretty rare. Questions first, cash comes later. Don't confuse a dream with data. Predict, predict. Everybody's getting rich on paper. Up or down, who's the clown? Still no answers coming around. Ask the questions, check the facts. Read the small print, front to back. Because tomorrow's easy to sell when nobody can really tell. You can predict the weather, you can predict the tide, but if someone says they know the future, keep one hand on your wallet. Oh!